All right, let's go over these problems quickly. All right, what's the first thing I told you to do when you factor? Well, if we're solving it, yeah. If it said to solve it, you said it equals 0. This just says factor, so you don't have to worry about solving this one. These three. Just practice factoring. What was the first thing we always did? Number 1.
GCF.
GCF, yeah. Look for a GCF. Is there one for number 3? 3x. Good. So how many terms will be inside the parentheses? 2, right? Starts out as a binomial. You have a binomial in there, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Divide 3x squared by 3x. What do you get? X. Negative 12x divided by 3x is what? Negative 4. Okay? Now sometimes you got to go further. If this had an x squared in it, if that started out as an x cubed, that would have been x squared, then that's called a difference of squares. They're both perfect squares and a minus between, right? That's actually one of the reasons right here. Okay? This one. Is there a GCF?
No.
No.
Yes.
If the last one had an x, it could be, or if A was 3 or 6 or 9, but there's no GCF. Okay? It's got 3 terms, so it's not number 2 or 3 on our list. Difference of squares, some are difference of cubes. Okay, it's not one of them. All right? It could be a number 4, a perfect square trinomial, but these are not both positive perfect squares. 18 is not a perfect square, right? 16 is, right? 25 is, but 18 is not. So it's a regular trinomial. Since A is 1, all I worry about are factors of C, right? And also, if C is positive, they're both whatever B's sign is. So these are both negative. So negative 1, negative 18, negative 2, negative 9, negative 3, negative 6. Any of those add up to negative 9? Negative 3, negative 6. So, since A is 1, it's just x times x gets you x squared, right? 1x times 1x is still 1x squared. And then you put minus 3 and minus 6. Okay? Again, if it was equal to 0, we'd finish up by setting them equal to 0 and finishing, right? But this is just factoring practice. Okay, number 5 here. There's no GCF, but number 2 on our list is called a difference of squares. 2 terms, both perfect squares, and a minus between. So it is one of those. Okay? When you see that it's one of those, you make 2 sets of parentheses. And you had this on your homework, I think, didn't you? Okay? Were you supposed to solve it by factoring? I think you were, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay? So what's the square root of x squared? What's the square root of 49? And then what did I tell you to do? Right, one's addition, one's subtraction. Okay? So, I turned it into, I think it was one of your problems early. But you just go x plus 7 equals 0. Or x minus 7 equals 0. So x will be 7 here. If you add 7 to both sides, x will be negative 7 here. If you subtract 7 from both sides. And if I go back up in here, negative 7 times negative 7 is 49. And 49 minus 49 is 0, right? And positive 7 times positive 7 is 49. Minus 49 which is 0. Okay? Some of you just put 7 for that answer. All right? So, just a little review, little practice. on factoring. Okay? So we started at, was it 10?
12.
12, right? It's 12 to 18 even, right?
Yeah. No, 16.
There's 16, that's right. There's 3 of 12, 14, and 16. All right, 12, it says find the roots by factoring. So the first thing you had to do was add 9 to both sides. So it was x squared minus 6x plus 9. Let's do this. We all okay with that, first of all? Okay, and then I look for a GCF. There isn't one. It's not a difference of squares or a sum or difference of cubes because it has 3 terms. It's a trinomial. These are both positive perfect squares. So it's probably one of those special ones. So Trent, watch. You take the square root of that and get x. What's the square root of 9? 3. What do you do with those two? What did I tell you? Multiply them. Is that half of the middle? Yes, Mr. Manning, it is half, right? So there's one parenthesis, just squaring it, because it's a special one of those. And you just put what you took, square root of the first term, the square root of the 9, whatever's in front of the 6. Okay, again, if you missed that though, what are the factors of 9 that add up to negative 6? Negative 3 times negative 3, right? So it's okay if you miss that it's not one of those, that it is one of those, sorry. You'll still get the answer, because you'll write x minus 3 times x minus 3, which is 2 of them, right? And then you set it equal to 0. Add 3, so there's only one answer. If I graph that, does it open up or down? Up. Where's that vertex going to be? Right there. Yeah, there's only one spot that hits the x-axis. Okay? So that happens sometimes. 14, that was the one we just got done doing, right? Oh, it was the x squared minus 49 equals 0. Trent?
What happened to the parentheses and the square root? They're not square root, but the space in it.
This?
Yeah, but aren't really x minus 3.
Well, this is factored now. So once you have it factored, you just set your factor equal to 0. Okay? So 14 was the one, number 5 there we just got done doing when I put a 0 on it, right? You guys okay with that? So it's positive 7 and negative 7, number 14. Number 16. I gave you 2 numbers. You know, this is the backward stuff. They gave you 2 roots, which was the same one, right? So how did I tell you to start these always? X minus, right? Isn't that what I said? Always start the backwards one. When they give you the roots or the zeros and you're supposed to find the function or the equation that goes with it, you always start with x minus. If I had 3 or 4 of them, I'd have 3 or 4 x minuses, that's all. Then I just put that number. Negative 4, negative 4. What is minus a negative though? Plus, so I just write x plus 4 and x plus 4. Now, some of you are still having trouble finishing this up. You just FOIL. First, x times x. Outside, x times 4. Inside, 4 times x. Last, 4 times 4. Some of you are just writing x squared and 16. You're not putting the 8x that goes in the middle. Okay? All right, so some of you, when I was looking at your submissions, you would just put x squared plus 16. Okay? We should all know how to FOIL this far into algebra 2, because that's algebra 1 basics, right? Any questions? Okay, then we jump to number 28. Is that what I said? All right. 28 was -4. There's only one root. You have to add 16. Okay. So, is it minus or plus 8? Plus.
16, 28 is opposite each other.
Are they?
Oh, so it's same.
Yeah, it's the same problem, right? Yeah, I was making this easier, wasn't it? But let's just say we didn't realize it's one of those special ones. What are the factors of 16? Since A is 1, what are the factors of 16 that add up to 8? Because there's no GCF and all that. 4 times 4, right? So you're going to write x times x for the x squared, and plus 4, and plus 4 for the 16, and they add up to 8. All right? So I did it as a regular trinomial instead of the special one. It is a special one, but if you missed it, that's okay. See, you'll still get the right answer. And again, since they're exactly the same, you don't have to set both of them equal to 0. You can just do one. That's because they're both exactly the same. Danny, put that away, or I'm going to throw it out the window. Okay? Kate, you following along, or are you doing something else? Oh, you're getting ahead of the game, huh? Number 30. This is one that had no 1 there, right? Grace, you got a question? Okay. All right. Is there a GCF? No.
No.
No. Is it a difference of squares?
Yes.
No. How many terms in a difference of squares? 2.
Goes.
Is it a sum or difference of cubes? No, because how many terms?
2. 1, 2, 2.
Right? 2. Freestyle, right?
Yeah.
2 points. Best one. Okay. Is it number 4? Are these both positive, perfect squares?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So I do my little side test. I call it the 1, 2, 3 test. I just haven't told you guys that. Number 1 is the square root of that, which is what?
3.
Number 2, square root of that.
2.
Number 3, multiply 1 times 2. 6x. Is that half the 12 then?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
So I can factor it like that. What goes in the front? 3x. What goes in the back? 2. Is it addition or subtraction? Addition, right? It's whatever B's. Okay? So then I just said 3x plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 2. Divide by 3. Okay? Again, if you didn't, well, I can show you the other way. Let's see, do we have any more? No, we don't. 32 is one of those as well. The square root of x squared is x, square root of 25 is 5, 5x is half of 10x. So it's x minus 5 squared equals 0. So the answer is 5. Okay? Questions? The last 34 was going backwards. They gave you a 5 and negative 1. So it's x minus 5 and x minus negative 1. What's minus the negative 1? Plus 1, right? FOIL it. First, outside, inside, last. Multiplying, not adding. So x squared minus 4x minus 5 is your answer. Questions? Does that help?
Yes.
Good. So, we've done, what are these called? Quadratics, very good. And how do I know it's a quadratic?
And that's on your.
You see it.
Yeah, as you see it. Well, yeah. If the x is what? Squared, yeah. So you got an x squared, it's a quadratic. What's it called, the graph of a quadratic? A parabola. It has an axis of symmetry. How do you find the axis of symmetry? Right. X equals negative b over 2a. How do you know if it opens up or down?
Negative A.
Yeah, A is negative, it opens down. A is positive, opens up, right? How do we find the vertex?
Oh, is that the 2A?
You plug in what you got for the axis of symmetry and for x and figure out your y, right? How do you know what the y-intercept is? The c value, good. And then you graph it, right?
Yep.
So we did that last Thursday, Friday. And then Monday, Tuesday this week, we solved them using factoring, right? And we did some graphing too, right? On the graphing ones, you can use your calculator, right? All right. So you have a practice quiz that's due tomorrow, and your quiz will be Friday. Okay? Any questions? All right. Good deal.
I want it.
Make it a lot easier.
Yes. See, check it out. And you're not taking any of it, Evan.